A special music high monument moment happened when Stephen Evans traveled from Hollywood, California to Washington, D.C. to speak on a professional music panel at Howard University with a packed audience. This was an opportunity for Stephen Evans to share his professional music advice on a panel with Harold Lilly Jr. and KJ1X Mariah Meshi. And Stephen Evans had a special moments with two 18-year-old African-American students who was admiring and looking up to Stephen as a music hero. These young men's future looks bright. For appointments, check out Stevotheproducer on all social media platforms.
PIC TV Network World, Stevotheproducer, man. How do you enjoy doing the presentation at Howard University, coming from California to do this today?
It's such an honor, man, to be following in my dad's footsteps, who taught right here in Douglas Hall over 20 years ago and brought me here as a child. And now I'm back with a full circle moment, helping these kids to understand how to properly prepare for their future. So I'm extremely honored and happy to be here.
You know how much history is here? When you was a kid, I used to bring you here, man.
Yeah,
Douglas Hall, room 238, while I was teaching sociology. Now
we got to stop by 238 on the way out, man.
We do. But let's talk about the program today, Press and Play, man. How did you feel, man? Because one of your homies was up there with you, and he's out there with Keisha Coles, Luther Vandross, man. This dude is on a whole different level, Steve.
Yeah, it's an honor to be on a panel with people who are so extremely talented and well sought after. I just consider it an honor to be in the number, man. Somebody like Harold Lilly, who's wrote for Luther Vandross, Alicia Keys, the list is limitless. So I'm just honored to be in the number with somebody like this, and I'm privileged to be here.
Yeah, and that young man who was talking, man, at the end, a freshman, he asked you a question, Steve. He was just lighting up like a Christmas tree, man. To see you give back like that, how do you feel?
It's amazing. I did it. I was the one that was kind of learning and gleaming from guys who were doing it before me. So to be in that seat and for the torch to be passed in that way, to be able to impact guys positively, is something that I always cherish.
Yeah, speaking of this brother right here, come on over here, man. You was inspired by Steve-O. Come on in here, man. I'm gonna put you on the scene, man.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, and how young are you, man?
I just turned 18 this year.
18?
Wow.
Steve, when you were 18, you was
I ain't been
pushing
18 in a long time,
you
man.
was pushing grocery shots.
Legit, man. Yeah.
Man, so what inspired you to be motivated by Steve-O today, man?
Well, I've been listening to, I guess indirectly, I've been listening to him for like all of my life. You know,
Wow.
My dad played like.
You're only 18, man. What do you mean all your life, man?
Well, yeah, but like, you know, there would always be music playing, you know, even with like Harold, and like, I just like, you know, I grew up with like just music around, and just like, I looked up to like you and like other producers like Jay Melodic and like
amazing
stuff like that. So,
wow, man.
You know, I'm sorry, am I doing right? Nah, but yeah, like, just like, the thing that you said was like, you know, even like without like motivation, even without like, you know, drive or like something to tap into, it's like still being able to create that because like you love it, and it's like it should just come natural to you, and like that's really happy that said that. Like, I feel like
California. They did a great
Amazing.
yeah, you know,
Amazing.
Like everything that y'all said in there, like this is why, you know, this is why like I do what I do, because of like you guys, and you know, it's just like being able to see like the top of the mountain, or at least like, you know, what I want to do or like where I want to be. And you guys, it's just like.
And see, Steve, I mean, man, to have these young cats, man, young brothers up here, man. And how old are you, son?
I'm 18.
18.
Just turned 18.
Steve, these brothers are not in prison, not on drugs, not out here making babies everywhere. Steve, this man, tell the whole world how proud of you are, man. See two 18-year-old cats looking up to you doing your thing.
It's amazing.
This question is for everybody on the panel. Let's talk about how you got started. What track did you press play on that propelled you forward? This can be something you heard from someone else and or something you wrote and produced. And whoever's ready can take it with her.
Harold asked me this question a second ago. My answer was different, but I'm gonna switch it. I think for me, it's probably gonna be anything from the Underdogs. Yeah, I feel like, for those of you who don't know, Harvey Mason, who was the CEO of the Grammy And Recording Academy was also a part of a production group called The Underdogs. We did everything from Tank to Mario to Omarion, basically 2000s R&B. And I think that era was special to me because they were infusing a lot of R&B soul feelings with church and jazz harmonies, and a lot of keyboard stuff that comes from the funk era. So I think coming from a musician background like myself was probably the first time I heard it. Oh snap, we can bring our individuality to mainstream. So it's gonna be anything Underdog for me. And How Could You by Mario is probably gonna be my go-to for sure.
Yes. I mean, raise your hand if y'all know who the Underdogs are. All right, good. All right, perfect. The record for me would be, it was a song actually that got me my publishing deal. It's never been released. Okay?
Oh wow.
And it's a song called Talk with Time. I wrote the song with my friends back home in Richmond. There was a young artist by the name of Nicole Ray. Who remembers Nicole Ray? All right, Nicole Ray. She was signed to an artist named Missy Elliott. Okay? At the time, Missy's Drake. No, not Drake now, but Kendrick Lamar now. She got a new artist. They need some songs. I write a song for Nicole Ray. This song ends up on a 5-song demo. 4 of them were hers. 1 of them was mine. This one song is getting played in meetings I don't even know about. Everybody who hears the song wants to find out, hey, who wrote this one song? Who is this guy right here? And so that song ended up getting me 4 publishing deals, 4 publishing offers, okay? And my mother made me choose the deal that was the most fair at the time, okay? And so this is the power of songs, and this is the power of songwriting. It doesn't have to be released to get you to another door and to another place in your career. I got some lyrics in my hand. Some of these lyrics might get whoever wrote these lyrics. It could propel you to another situation, okay? So this may not be popular, but I'm gonna say it. Who would write for free? Raise your hand. Free means you don't get paid. Free means nobody free. Okay, this is a good room. Okay, all right. Free 99, you still do it? Free 99. All right, okay. So the song that really propelled my career was a song only 20 people heard. Yeah. That's a song for me. Yeah.
That's a similar story to my situation. I'm gonna say really it's kind of a 1-2 punch. So it's two records. One, the whole record of the discography of Earth, Wind & Fire. So you take the Earth, Wind & Fire discography as a record, that was it. Now you fast forward to my sophomore year of college. That record was sampled, and Philip Bailey ended up one of the, was he a soprano? I don't know. He be singing high. But his brother, is he a tenor? What is he?
Tenor.
Okay. So first tenor, thank you, sir. Philip Bailey was collaborating with some younger artists, and there was an album, never came out, never will come out, that Good Music was doing at the time called Cruel Winter. There was a Cruel Summer album, I believe that did come out, or mixtape, and then there was a Cruel Winter they was gonna do. Philip Bailey collaborated on that record. It was basically a bunch of artists that were signed to Kanye West at the time that was just barring up, Pusha T, Common, this one, that one, Big Sean. So it was that time. And I heard Philip Bailey on the record, and I was like, oh snap, I got it. Because again, that's the one that propelled me. And so I was like, I gotta remix this. I remixed it. And that was the first record that I ever created or remixed or anything where I felt like, oh, this might do something. Like this might actually do, I surprised myself. And so I realized, all right, if I just do what I've been doing, I might get in trouble. Because what I was doing at that time in college was putting up copyright infringement. That's what I was doing. I'm sampling everything and just throwing it on SoundCloud. And you know, it wasn't, the songs weren't making enough of a splash to get in trouble. But I knew this one would. I just knew it. And so I tried to reach out to the management to get the song clear, and Good Music called me back, wanted me to fly out to Los Angeles immediately. Changed my life. I went to LA, still in LA, it worked out. That was over 10 years ago. But nobody's heard that record. That record didn't even almost come out. And like I said, it ain't finna come out. So Two Brother Harold's reality, that could be the reality of all of us. You gotta know how to just work because you know to do the work.
Right.
It's gonna be free until it's not. So.
I love all of your answers. Mine is a little bit different. Because I was just thinking about my time as a student here, and I think my first press and play moments happened here. It happened in my audition to get into the department. It happened in my audition to be able to, actually, I didn't even audition. First of all, I wanted to take classical voice lessons. I was I think a music ed major at first, classical piano. And I went to Charlotte Holloman, may she rest peacefully. She was the classical voice teacher, and I'm like, I want to take voice lessons. And she was like, no. Like, she had never heard me sing. That was not my major. There was no reason for her to let me do anything. And so I was in university choir, and he put together, Dr. Norris, he was the choral conductor at the time, he put together a group called Howard Singers, which was like a small ensemble, and we just did like classical stuff. And I auditioned for that, and I got in it, and then I got a solo, like immediately, which is like not on brand for me at the time. But I got a solo because they needed like it was called Philia in like an oratorio yepka. And I was supposed to be like a young daughter. Philia means daughter, and I was 16 at the time, so like my little straight tone soprano voice, I guess, was working for what they needed. So we performed in recital, and after that, Charlotte Holloman said, "Oh, I need you to come to my studio." So like she heard me, and she's like, "I need to train you to be a coloratura soprano," and that's what she sung, and she was, phenomenal. Please look her up; she's a part of your legacy. But just those moments, every audition that I had here, which was for free, actually we were paying to go here, so it's like more than for free, So all of those paid auditions I did here set the stage for everything that I did moving forward in my career, and even up until Afro Blue. So I was in Sassy first, and then I think it was my senior year, Danielle, who was the lead soprano, she had been in Afro Blue for a while, and she's like she's the soprano sound of Afro Blue, period. So like she was there when the group started. So I think everybody after her, we all kind of molded to her sound. Even when I was in Sassy, I was listening to her like, oh, how do I accomplish that? So she wasn't going to be in the group that semester. So Miss Miller, I don't think I had to audition. She asked me to be the soprano in that group, and because of that, when we went on the sing-off, I was in the group. I graduated, but I was in the last group before we went to the sing-off. So when she was putting together the group to audition for the sing-off, I was in that group. So we were on NBC for the whole fall season of the sing-off, and that propelled everything forward in my career, because people even now, if I tell them I was in Afro Blue on the sing-off season 3, they go, oh my gosh, I love Afro Blue. It's opened up opportunities for me to have gigs. When I first moved to LA, I was sleeping on Shayla's couch for 6 months, but within the first 2 weeks, I was a part of a group that got to do a commercial for the show Empire from somebody from the sing-off. The reason why I was able to sing with Beyonce, somebody from the sing-off told me about the audition. Or actually, I didn't audition for that either. They told me to come to the shoot, to the taping. And they told me, I can't tell you what it is, but you need to be here. But all of these relationships that I fostered by showing up to these auditions, being in these ensembles, classical piano, and I'm very excited to be here for homecoming. Happy homecoming. What to say about me? Well, I mean, I've worked on a bunch of stuff, but we'll talk about me later. I want to pass it to Stevo, the producer, and he is going to introduce himself and just, go ahead.
What's up, y'all? My name is Steve. I'm a DC native. I'm actually a neighborhood native. My parents are here. Can you give them a hand? tapped in the area. And I'm a producer and music director and arranger, so everything from Doja Cat to most recently Coco Jones is within my scope. So I'm happy to be here and help you guys figure out your future a little bit. So thank you for having me.
Next we have
You need to get to a point in where you don't need motivation to work, right? I think that's a part of that is like developing the skill of perseverance, which means that your emotions don't necessarily deter you from your commitment, right? And that's with respect to like mental health and personal things that are going on in your life, everything that you need to consider to be a human. But I like the sports analogy, right? The reason why we like and follow a lot of these athletes is because no matter if there's booing or cheering or throwing debris on the court, whatever is the obstacle is, whatever the distraction is, they still can lock in and make the basket. Yes. And I think that's part of the thing that helped me to get to the next level in my deliverables is being able to kind of block out the noise. Like I shared an analogy with my dad earlier. You ever talk to somebody and you're trying to have a conversation with them and they're literally like daydreaming? You know what I mean? Like they're distracted and you're like, yo, hello, I'm talking to you. But that type of laser focus is what I think you need to push past the level when you're not motivated. Now, of course, you can take like incremental motivational steps, which is like, okay, let me do a little bit today. It doesn't have to be moving mountains today, but I think for me, once I got to the point to where I don't need motivation to work. My work ethic is based on a decision, not a feeling. So that's my answer.
Yeah, I feel that a lot. And I feel like in artistic spaces, we're very emotional. You know, like there's a heart that goes into what you do. So sometimes we can let our heart be an obstacle to, you know, what we have to do. Because I don't feel like you hear people talking about, oh yeah, I'm an accountant, I didn't feel motivated to do your taxes today. You know, so like we give ourselves this leeway, like, oh, I'm so special, I need to feel it. You don't always feel it. And sometimes feeling it is shown up. And then the creative spirit will meet you there because you took a step forward.
That's right.
So
Absolutely.
that's my little piece on that. So let's go to this next section, the balance, embracing entrepreneurship while creating art. So let's dig into how entrepreneurial thinking influenced your pressing play moments and brought your creations to market. So this is for everyone. How do you balance the demanding roles of artist and entrepreneur?
I would like to take this one. Okay. We got a lot of storytellers here, right?
Yes, sir.
So usually in the business, how it will work is you have a creative and then you have a business, right? You got Babyface, then you got L.A. Reid, right? You have the underdogs. You got Damon,
Right.
then you had Harvey. So now in today's space, one person has to bear the responsibility of doing all of it until other specialists come and join the fight, right? So how I was able to deal with it was the best story wins, okay? If you already writing verses and hooks and bridges and you can come up with the song and the melody, you don't know it. You don't know that you could come up with a business plan in the same way that you write a song.
Yes, sir.
That's
Right.
Okay?
Yes.
real.
You kind of stop at business. I don't want to do that. I got somebody. But as soon as the music come on, you like da da da. You could be the same way with business, but you have to think about it in a story. So if it's something that you want to happen, if you want it to be a part of your story, then act like it is.
Yeah.
You making it up anyway. Am I making sense?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
All right.
Absolutely.
So these people, these business people, if you're an entrepreneur, and with that said too, if you don't love it, just stop what you're doing.
Right.
If you don't love it, just go ahead and find something that you love.
Right.
Because the minute you become an entrepreneur, you will get tested over and over again. And your love will have to kind of gobble all of that up. Okay? So that's my answer. The best story wins. And if you want to be a great business entrepreneur and a creative, there are books about people who did both.
Yes, sir.
And we can read those.
Yep.
My answer but that's my answer, to try to balance it. And you balance it, you get good enough to somebody, an expert will come along and go, hey, you're really good at writing. You're great at writing. You know, I went to law school. Let me help you with your business.
That's real.
And you go, oh, all right. Help me. But you got to be in the midst of telling the story. If you're not telling the story, if you just saying, hey, I got 4 songs I want somebody to listen to, that's not a story. Okay? So please make sure you look at your entrepreneurial aspirations just like you look at your verses and hooks, and you'll get far. Yeah.
Can I piggyback over that?
Please.
I thought of a phrase earlier, and you literally just hit on the crazy. The phrase is that your business is a song.
Yes.
The same amount of effort, the same amount of creativity, the same amount of passion that you put into your songs have to go into your business. And this is the craziest thing that happened to me maybe recently. I'm like a full spectral kind of thinker, so I need everything to make sense for me to feel like it's a full circle moment. I need to like, yo, God, why did you take me down this path? Because that doesn't seem like it's related to this. And so I'm like pretty much a split, and I can kind of like, you know, teeter on either or side, but I'm like a right, left brain kind of person. So I can tap into super creative, and I can tap into super structure based on the way my parents raised me. But the reason why I brought that up is because I was organizing and cleaning my house a couple days ago, and I'm like decorating and like, you know what I'm saying, file management and like laying down carpet and stuff like that, and I realized, yo, this is the same sensation that I'm getting when I'm arranging music. Yes. Arranging is ordering is organizing, and all of that is creating. You're creating systems, you're creating patterns. So you have the skill set to apply that to your business. You just gotta put in the same amount of effort.
Yes, yes sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna add to that too. Right, you wanna go first?
I do. I was just gonna say one thing. Like, as you were saying that, as both of you were speaking, I was thinking not only is business a song, but like human beings are entrepreneurs. Like, you're a human. It's a part of your humanity to create and make things occur. Like, sometimes we can just take that word or take the word business, I know I did, and make it something that's more than what it is. But I do business all the time. If you have to do your taxes or manage your money, you're doing business all the time. If you're managing a household, doing your chores or whatever, folding laundry, I have to, you know, like that same brain is doing the same things just like he said. So that's all I wanted to say, just one little sentence. Or 3.
That's beautiful. I'm glad you went first, because I want us to think about everyone that spoke and realize this. All 4 of the panelists are business owners in the entertainment industry that are black people. That's very rare. What you'll find is that most of us work for a white person. Specifically, this is not racism, this is just facts. It's Caucasians that have most of the power inside of the music industry as far as ownership of intellectual property. There are 0 black-owned major distributors. It's 0. I want to end my, but I'm gonna keep going. 0. Now, when you think about the global state of music, has it overwhelmingly been determined by what white people want to do with songs? Is that what happened over the last 50 years? Do white folks say, you know what, I'm gonna make nothing out of something and come up with this genre and everybody go for it? No. Who did?
Who did?
Now, we did. Now this is the thing. It wouldn't be a problem if it was an accident. Okay, now let's go ahead and get things cracking.
For me, I ain't even gonna say for me, for us in the media space, networking is vibrant. There's no option there. Like, you have to do it. I just came to a conclusion recently. Like, I tried to come into the entertainment space with like a very rigid federal government, DC kind of, you know what I'm saying, mentality. And I got really, really woken up real quick. And the reality is that it's a networking, personal relationship, social equity driven industry. And it was established like that before we got a chance to get in place. So you have to play along. There's no option. And I liken it to like transactional businesses or like engagements. It's like you walk into a restaurant, or better yet, you walk into a car service center and you give them a piece of currency and they give you a service. It's rendered. It's literally that simple. We ain't gotta talk. We ain't gotta shake hands. We ain't gotta say we love each other. It's not that deep. But the music industry, especially in our space, is more like going to your favorite restaurant, but only going because you know the owner and you know you might get a deal, or you're gonna get, you know, some schmoozing that's gonna happen at the table. So I think with those experiences, think about, and this helps me a lot too, think about what your experience is as a consumer or as a client with the people that you do business with on a daily basis. And with that same analogy, if you're going to your favorite restaurant because you know the owner or the chef, and the chef isn't pleasant that day, what you gonna do? You're gonna stop going. So I think networking and relationships and unity is so important in our space because it's socially driven. It's not transactional. People work with their friends. And if you're not their friends, you need to pretend to be their friends. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just the way the business is set up. So I'll pause there.
Well, I would say, if you want to have success beyond the ceiling of individual wealth, you have to have unity. And this ain't even, my answers aren't based on vibes. This is based on reading books, okay? What happened in real life is that groups of people got together and conquered other people. It wasn't just Alexander the Great. They wouldn't call him great if he was by himself. This man had soldiers. And so if you really want to accomplish anything out here in the music industry, you are going up against beasts that have hordes of goblins, period. Sony Music, Universal, Disney, Warner Brothers. I do business with all these people, but they're not people, they're infrastructures. And so you gonna need infrastructure to deal with infrastructure properly. Will you get screwed otherwise? Absolutely. And they'll tell you on the way in and on the way out. And be like, sorry, buddy, I wish you would have just had some infrastructure. So that's what I would suggest. Just make sure that if you want to be successful beyond just yourself having a little money, you got to make sure you have some unity going on in your infrastructure. But also, like Brother Harold was saying, if you identify something that you're doing, something you don't love, maybe pick something else to be your main priority. If you identify that you don't anticipate creating any unity in the music industry, that's your plan C now. Don't let the music industry be your plan A if you don't want to network. It ain't finna happen, all right? That sounds so harsh. Why do I sound mean?
It's the truth, though.
Sometimes truth can be
Well, let me,
abrasive,
okay,
but it's true.
and I want to say this as someone who did not network. As someone who did not network. I was a, yeah?
Yes,
All right, so I didn't network. I grew up with this phrase. My mama told it to me. She said, Harold, God plus one is always the majority.
Say that again.
God plus one is always the majority, okay? So I didn't start networking until recently, okay? I started meeting the most beautiful people, and I became obsessed with what I love to do, all right? Because sometimes in LA, specifically, it's called busy work.
Right.
and I see you're a young songwriter, producer, you want to get into business, and I can give you busy work. Oh, you're really good. You know what? Go to this mixer in Pasadena on Friday. Then go to this mixer in North Hollywood on Saturday. Then go to another mixer in Long Beach on Sunday. And I'm saying to you,